saw this quote by a great teacher named Gil Fronsdal, who teaches up at the Insight Meditation Center in Redwood City, California. Is it a little quiet in the back? Okay, everyone's cool with the volume? All right, awesome. I saw somebody on Zoom mention volume, so I want to make sure. This is from the great and adorable Gil Fronsdal up at Insight Meditation Center in Redwood City. He says, when meditating, there's no need to think about what is happening. Rather, let your awareness be held in the tender warmth you feel in your body. This is a really important point. Just briefly, the vast majority of us, I think it would be safe to say that's the kind of social, cultural, even religious model the vast majority of us grew up with is of, I'm in here somewhere. There's like a little Franz, either of chemicals and electrical signals, or like an actual little Franz pulling the levers and making me jump around and eat too many cookies all the time. And even, this is a common motif through, culture, society, even the way we think about executive function. We think of like the forebrain, the cerebral cortex, and like executive decision making. So it would be very natural to approach our meditation practice this way. Even the way we talk about mindfulness. We talk about mindfulness of the body. So it's mindfulness of the body. It's like a very top-down, I'm in a capsule somewhere in a very clean white room wearing a white lab coat, looking through my computer at some sensory thing happening in the body. But of course, there's no way of delineating or separating mind and body. There's no way of delineating or separating mind, heart, or body. Anything that's registering in the awareness that I call Franz, just for sake of argument, is happening in this vast, incredibly, even calling it enmeshed or entangled is too distant. This thing is happening here. So when we come to practice, it would be very easy, I say something like, notice the sensation of breath. And it would be really natural to like even have a little conversation of yourself like, yes, now I'm noticing the sensation of the breath in my nose. And don't think I'm not talking about myself. This is this. I'm like, yep, I know I've done that before. And then I'll do something else and say, oh, you're doing something else now. You should go back to the breath. This is already way too separate. This is already way too dualistic. In the words of the great founder of the Soto Zen tradition, Dogen Zenji, he said, mindfulness of the body is the body's mindfulness. It's not that I'm taking something up here and sticking it there. It's something's happening and I'm paying attention to it. I'm being in it. And I feel like this is a good way to think about a body scan. If you guys ever do a body scan or mindfulness of your breathing, it's not that you're up here in the escape pod looking down there. It's that something arises and your awareness is there. And really it is. I've said this recently, but it really struck me. I'll never forget the day it occurred to me driving poorly as a youngster, and I hit a bump and I said, ouch, and I felt the pain. Like I felt like, this, distress, because your awareness will naturally fill any space allowed it by perception and sensory organs. So that's already very natural. We don't need to kind of separate it and dualize it and do it very top down. So when sitting, when there's breathing happening, it doesn't have to be I'm noticing my breathing. This is breathing. Breathing is happening. Or when sound happens, it doesn't have to be I'm noticing that sound that I don't like and I'm having an opinion about it. It's just sound. And if you know this, if you know what the sound is and you want to name it in your sit, if you want to note it, go ahead and note it. Car horn. Vacuum cleaner. Whatever it is. So, thus ends my prepared remark.
Franz,
Yes, sir?
can you read it again?
Yes. The quote, the actual quote is, there's some fans of Gil Fronsdal in the room, myself included. When meditating, don't think about what is happening. Rather, let your awareness be held in the tender warmth you feel in your body. And I love that tender warmth. That's the last thing I want to, I know I said I was done, but just briefly, tender. That's so good. Remember that this mindfulness that the Buddha is asking us or inviting us to practice, the word he often uses for the way it works is sati sampajana. This close attending to, without judgment, critique, chatter, clearly knowing what is happening. That's very tender. That's very vulnerable, open, spacious, and close.